Welcome to my channel Echoes of Coin. In 1929, a single 1-cent coin passed quietly from hand to hand, worth almost nothing yet present at the exact moment before the world changed forever. Just months before the Great Depression turned that tiny penny into a symbol of survival, struggle, and history. The 1929 1-cent coin holds a quiet but powerful place in American history, representing a moment when the United States stood on the edge of dramatic economic change. This small copper coin, often overlooked because of its modest face value, was circulating during one of the most important turning points of the 20th century. It was a year of confidence, routine, and everyday life for millions of Americans, just months before the world would be shaken by the Great Depression. The 1929 1-cent coin is more than a piece of currency. It is a silent witness to the final moments of economic normalcy before hardship reshaped the nation. The coin belongs to the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1929, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for 2 decades, and its design had become familiar to every American. The obverse of the coin features a right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's image appears calm and thoughtful, symbolizing unity, strength, and moral leadership. His presence on the coin reminded citizens of national values even as the country unknowingly moved toward economic collapse. The reverse of the 1929 1-cent coin displays 2 wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the motto E pluribus unum above. The wheat stalks symbolize prosperity, agriculture, and abundance, reflecting America's deep connection to farming and self-sufficiency during that era. In hindsight, the wheat design carries a bittersweet meaning, as the coming years would bring food shortages, unemployment, and widespread poverty. In 1929, the United States Mint produced 1-cent coins at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint struck coins without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint used a small D, and the San Francisco Mint used an S. Each version of the 1929 penny tells a slightly different story based on where it was produced and how many were minted. The Philadelphia Mint produced the highest number, making the 1929 penny relatively common in circulated condition. The Denver and San Francisco issues were produced in lower quantities, adding to their interest among collectors. At the time, 1 cent had real purchasing power. Could buy small items such as candy, a newspaper, or basic household goods. Children saved pennies in jars, workers carried them in their pockets, and shopkeepers counted them daily. The 1929 penny passed through countless hands, exchanging value in an economy that appeared strong on the surface. Stock markets were booming, factories were running, and optimism filled the air. Few people suspected that the economic system was fragile and dangerously overextended. The year 1929 is most famously remembered for the stock market crash in October, which marked the beginning of the Great Depression. Before that crash, the 1929 1-cent coin was already in circulation, used in everyday transactions without fear or uncertainty. After the crash, the same coin took on a new meaning. It became a symbol of survival, thrift, and resilience. People began to save every penny they could, and the 1-cent coin became more important than ever during times of scarcity. The composition of the 1929 penny reflects the industrial standards of its time. It was made primarily of copper, with small amounts of tin and zinc. This copper-rich composition gave the coin its warm reddish-brown color when new. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and handling caused the copper to darken, creating the brown and chocolate tones commonly seen on surviving examples today. Some well-preserved coins still retain traces of their original red luster, making them especially desirable to collectors. Minting technology in 1929 relied on mechanical presses and skilled workers. Each coin was struck with care, but variations occurred due to die wear, alignment issues, and production speed. These small imperfections have become points of interest for numismatists. Minor errors, weak strikes, and die cracks can be found on some 1929 pennies, adding uniqueness to individual coins. These details remind us that each penny was a product of human labor and industrial process, not mass perfection. As the Great Depression deepened in the years following 1929, many 1-cent coins were lost, hoarded, or worn heavily through constant use. Families relied on every coin they had, and pennies often circulated far longer than intended. Because of this, finding a 1929 penny in high-grade condition today is more difficult than finding a heavily worn example. This contrast highlights the difference between survival-era usage and modern collecting practices. For collectors, the 1929 1-cent coin represents both accessibility and historical significance. While common in lower grades, it becomes increasingly scarce in higher conditions, especially with original red coloration. Coins from the Denver and San Francisco mints tend to command higher prices due to lower mintages. Collectors value these coins not just for rarity, but for the story they carry from one of America's most critical years beyond its physical characteristics. The 1929 penny serves as a time capsule. It reflects an America that believed in progress, industry, and endless opportunity. It was struck during a year when radios were bringing entertainment into homes, automobiles were becoming common, and cities were expanding rapidly. Yet beneath this progress lay economic imbalance, debt, and speculation that would soon unravel. The image of Abraham Lincoln on the coin takes on deeper meaning when viewed through the lens of the great depressed Lincoln, who led the nation through the Civil War, symbolized endurance and moral courage. His presence on the penny may have offered subtle comfort to citizens facing hardship, reminding them of a leader who preserved the nation during its darkest hours. Over time, the Lincoln Wheat Cent series ended in 1958, replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. This change marked a shift in how American history was represented on currency. The 1929 penny remains part of the earlier tradition, rooted in agriculture and foundational values. It stands as a bridge between eras, connecting pre-Depression optimism with Depression-era struggle. Today, when someone holds a 1929 1-cent coin, they are holding a piece of lived history. That coin may have bought bread during hard times, passed through the hands of workers, children, and shopkeepers, or sat hidden away in a drawer during years of uncertainty. Every scratch and worn edge tells a story of use and survival. The appeal of the 1929 penny extends beyond collectors to historians and storytellers. It helps explain how ordinary objects can carry extraordinary meaning. While paper money changes design frequently, coins like the 1929 cent remain largely unchanged in size and form, allowing modern people to physically connect with the past. In the end, the 1929 1-cent coin reminds us that even the smallest unit of currency can represent enormous historical weight. It stands for a year that changed the world, a nation that endured hardship, and a people who learned the value of every cent long after prices, markets, and systems changed. The humble 1929 penny survived, continuing to tell its story in silence, one hand at a time.